Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to Hognose 1 for the second part of the tutorial on how to price your new babies. Now, historically, in pricing for any homozygous visual animal, let's just say albino or hypo or axanthic or pink pastel, the value of one either sex visual was the equivalent of a 1.1 pair of 100% heterozygous. That's at least how it started 28 years ago when they first came out. But I want to do a test today, and I want you to join along with me. Let's do a test to determine if that still holds true. Does a 1.1 heterozygous for something, and in this case we'll continue on with our last tutorial and look at albino. Do a 1.1 heterozygous for albino, orange albino, equal the same value as one or the other of the visual homozygous albino? So where I'm starting at here, as you can see, is I'm on a page already punched in the query. This is male. So what I did here is I went ahead and jotted down a little homework. I took a lot of these 175, 200 mark, 6 of these, added them up, and curiously enough, the individual median value for 6 animals was $191. Isn't that crazy? So we're looking at one animal that almost has the same value as the male albino equivalent. The het almost has the same equivalent value as the albino, which is mind-blowing. So 230, remember, was our median. Roughly, I think it was 229 to be exact. 191. And the reason for this is because we're kind of getting to the lower end of what is available in hognose. The most common morph is albino. You can look on numbers. They're just everywhere, lots of them. And the het albino just has a normal standard look. So because of the mass availability, those are oftentimes the buyers choose those if they're looking for a wild type animal. And we're getting pretty close. 200 seems to be about the mark, 175 somewhere in there. Generally speaking, on Morph Market, you don't see a lot of them that go under that price. I have seen some prices dip down to around the $100 mark, but it's not very common. So at least with nicer animals, and for sure with those that have some type of heterozygous involved, this is something you're going to see. Now, I went ahead, and what you can do here is, like I said, you can interchange these little inputs. So we're going to go back over to filters, if it'll let me. There it goes. We're going to go down here again. We did sex male. Let's interchange this real quick and do sex female. Apply. Hopefully it all sticks. And it does. And I took some of these values here. Of course, as you can tell, it's a couple breeders. Just these are the most recent sales. But taking 6 of those, I determined that actually the median value for females, and this is kind of mind-blowing for me too, is $170. So 6 of them at a total of $1,020. So that equals $170 when you do the math. So it's totally wild that a het albino male would average out at 191, yet a het albino female would average out at 170. But again, remember, all this little pool that I've chosen from is why I'm getting this factor. If you go in and pick, say, 50 of the last sales, and of course I excluded red albino. I did not include those because those have generally a higher value, and we may have seen a different number come up as a median based on that, but I just found that very curious. So now let's jump over, and instead of doing het albino, let's go over here and do albino and just see if we can get a quick median for female albinos. We're going to leave the female query there. There we go. So we go to traits. We're going to X out of that. Enter a few more. Go to albino. We did male the first video. Apply. Hopefully the queries stay. Looks like they all stayed. Yep, looks good. 200, 190, 200, 200, 300, 300. So let me tally those up real quick. All right, one more, 300. $1,990 divided by 6. $331. So interesting there, $331 for a female. And remember, we're comparing one visual homozygous to 2 heterozygous. So we'll just say $331. We're going to do a combination or a median price between female, which is $331. And then we're going to add that $230. And that's going to be $561 divided by 2. So roughly $280. So can we say with conclusion that a $280 average price albino is equivalent to, let's see, 191 plus 170, $361 for an average price of heterozygous pair versus $280 for an average price albino. So yeah, things have changed in the last, 25 years. Generally speaking, females held a lot more value. So pretty good sign that albinos are that low. That is a very welcoming thing. Albinos can still be used in a lot of combos. I still have just plain albinos that I throw into all kinds of projects to be used. They can be used to make coral, sunburst. The list goes on and on. Albino, Swiss chocolate. You can still use albinos for a lot. So being able to pick up females at a $280 average is a pretty darn good price. So interesting enough. Thanks for checking that out with me, determining the value of the hets. We're going to go ahead and make a third video out of this, and we will look at some things to consider when you're taking to market, you're going to market, whether that's online. I may touch on a few things to consider if you're doing shows or other avenues, but this is going to wrap up this video here for us today. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out and looking at those different values with me, and we will catch you on the flip side.